Let's do a settling in meditation. Others may be joining us, but we can settle in while we're waiting. So sitting up straight but comfortably, and taking a few deep breaths as you exhale, just relaxing and letting go of any tension in your body. Keeping your belly soft, your shoulders down, and your arms are heavy. Just letting the tension of the day just melt off of you, allowing your body to feel heavy and relaxed. A lot of times just settling in, our mind is still going around and around. As we begin to settle, we'll notice that it slows down a bit. And the more we focus on our breath and our body, the less active our thoughts become. So focusing on the body, just feeling the contact points of your seat in the chair, your feet on the floor, being aware of different temperatures, different textures. Maybe there's cool or warm, firm, soft. So we want to find that balance of sitting up straight yet not being tense. So when you're sitting up straight, it's easier to let your body adjust. If you're uncomfortable in one way or another, it's easy to just kind of do a small adjustment. And settling in. And as we allow our body to settle, we'll focus on the breath for a little bit, just noticing the body breathing naturally. Noticing the movement of the body as the lungs and belly expand as you breathe in and contract as you breathe out. And staying with that rhythm, that gentle in-breath and out-breath. So we're going to take this time to ourselves. Letting go of the day, anything that was cycling around in our mind, we can just put that aside. It will still be there when we're done. But this is our time, just our group together here, letting go of the day. Taking a vacation from our thoughts, a vacation from the outside world, and just allowing yourself to settle in and relax with this group. So as we're practicing this settling in, being aware of our body, where we might be holding tension, and relaxing those areas. We're teaching ourselves mindfulness, this awareness of the feelings in the body. Awareness of the breath moving in and out of our lungs. And being aware of the thoughts that do come into our mind and allowing them to flow through, not getting caught in any of the stories our thoughts tell us. Sometimes we're not even really aware of how tense we may be until we settle in and check in with the body. Noticing different areas that we naturally just hold tension. Sometimes our shoulders or our throat or our belly, our jaw muscle. And we just take the time to concentrate on that relaxation in those areas. Taking an extra breath or two just to help release that tension. And now noticing if your mind has wandered, coming back to the breath, and that gentle inflow and outflow. It may help to stay with the sensations, the physical sensations of the breath. Noticing the inhale, the tip of the nose may feel air coming in, the nostrils, back of the throat. A body movement as your lungs expand and contract. And then exhaling, noticing your breath may be warmer. You may feel the difference on your upper lip. And if it's easier for you to anchor in your body, just being in your body, noticing the physical sensations. the contact points and the sensations. Maybe feel a pulse or a tingling in your hands or feet or legs. Welcome everyone. It's good to see everyone tonight. On the last few weeks, we've been talking about setting our intentions for the new year. And we're still in January, so we're just kind of continue with that. Part of what we talked about was the self-compassion that we use toward ourselves. If we're going to be able to feel compassion for others, we really need to feel compassion for ourselves first. And understanding our suffering helps us understand other people's suffering. And when we see someone suffering either in pain or emotional pain, we can relate to it and put ourselves in their shoes. And when we do that, there's a sense of compassion that arises where we really want to help. So our natural tendency is to want to help. And before we do that, we really need to take care of ourselves. Because often what we do is we take care of others before we take care of ourselves. It's not unusual. I think most of us have a tendency to do that. So the suffering is important. It's just part of life. It's important to notice, right? It's important to notice your suffering. It's important to know how to give yourself some soothing, some self-soothing, allowing yourself to be kind to yourself and just be human and let the human emotions come. I wrote a little bit today. I posted about suffering and compassion. Life is difficult sometimes, and we don't always feel positive or happy. Sometimes we're just in a different kind of mood. And sometimes we go through a period of questioning our human emotions. Maybe we feel guilt or shame or any number of pleasant, unpleasant emotions. And it can be really scary and cause us to resist feeling the emotions. And when we resist feeling the emotions, we resist the self-compassion that we could be giving ourselves. So often what we may also do is pull into ourselves and kind of block things out while we process any emotions that we're feeling. And it's okay to do that. It's really actually a good thing to do that, because that's a way of nurturing ourselves, to just kind of let things process through. And while we're being aware of our feelings, to look at the stories that come into our mind, look at our thoughts. Are we telling ourselves stories that may not be true? Are we exaggerating things? Are we getting caught in some kind of an emotion that we're growing? You know, sometimes when we get angry at someone, we can really create a story in our mind. and get caught in that story and cycle it through to where we get more and more angrier and angrier. And all that does is cause us suffering. So when we notice that we may be doing that, when we notice we're caught, we want to just notice it. Oh, okay, I'm doing that again. Let's take a couple of breaths, relax, let that go, and ask yourself with some curiosity, where does this come from? What did this trigger? What from my past came up and triggered to get me to feel this way? And it's really a study of remembering your triggers, recognizing them, and knowing what to do. And I think the first thing we need to do is allow ourselves to know that it's okay. It's perfectly normal. It's a human behavior. The second thing to notice is, how can we take care of ourselves? It can be really simple, just taking a few deep breaths and relaxing and calming ourselves and just letting go of those feelings for a while. Take 5 minutes to just relax in meditation and be with yourself. I have a quote here from Thanissara who says, "We don't wish for suffering, but once we understand how to be in a relationship with it, it becomes the means through which we mature as loving and wise people." So once we understand suffering, we really can relate to other people and their suffering. And Sharon Salzberg says, something happens when we don't resist, when we don't hate ourselves for what we're experiencing. Our hearts open and we realize we're not alone in our suffering. Even the suffering we begin to see is a vehicle for a larger sense of connection to all of life. Once we have that, we have faith. So, when she says that, once we realize that the suffering is opening a door for us to help other people, to understand other people, to be compassionate to other people, to allow other people their humanness without judgment. We practice on ourselves first, without judgment. I think that's the key word there. I think we're really self-critical. Most of us are. Most of us are very self-judgmental. So practicing non-judgment with yourself is a really good practice to not judging others. It's the best first step. So this is something we want to be mindful of. It's a really big part of our mindfulness practice to recognize how we're feeling, how our bodies are feeling, how our emotions are feeling. And we could be joyful in recognizing that. Sometimes joy is so fleeting that we don't really appreciate it when it comes around. But when we do have something beautiful happen, even if it's just taking a walk in the park, it's something to really be appreciated and cherished because it's right now. It's in a moment of 5 minutes of beautiful surroundings that if we're not watching it, we're going to miss 5 minutes of beautiful surrounding. And who wants to do that? Jack Kornfield talks about self-compassion, and he talks basically about liberation from suffering. Liberation comes from our innate capacity for deep listening. This deep listening is not through our ears or our eyes, but with our heart. So when things get difficult or when we get caught in the difficulties of the world, we can offer our peaceful heart. And sometimes that's really hard to do when we're really busy putting up walls to protect ourselves. But offering our peaceful heart doesn't mean allowing people to walk on us. It doesn't mean allowing people to take advantage of us. We're allowed to put up healthy boundaries. We're allowed to know where the boundary is and clearly relate that to other people. But we don't need to do it in a harsh way. We can do it in a caring way. And that's something I forget to practice like everyone else. I react. But I have to say, after all these years of meditation, my reactivity is much less than it used to be. So I highly recommend practicing this mindfulness because our reactivity is usually what causes the suffering. I wanted to remind you too, and for those who weren't here, just a few things to help develop that happiness. Waking up in the morning and being grateful for 3 things, 3 different things. I'm sure we can come up with 3 different things pretty easily. Gratitude is a big part of our happiness. Going out in nature is very healing. Getting outside, even walking on your own property, if you don't want to go out in public, just taking a walk outside of your place is fine. Noticing the wind and the birds and the trees and really appreciating it. There's also art. There's different arts. The creativity that we can release really brings a joy and a happiness. It doesn't have to be great. I'm not saying you can go out and paint the Mona Lisa, but if you want to paint something, it's okay. It doesn't need to look great. Maybe it will. Maybe you'll surprise yourself and create something really beautiful. And the next thing I want to remind you of is music. And we were talking about that earlier this evening. Music is a big part of happiness. We can sing, and singing is really good for us. It releases a lot of endorphins. And relating to the words can help us process emotions. Or if you play an instrument, because usually we love our instruments and that brings out a lot of those endorphins. We get kind of caught in the music of it, and before we know it, an hour has gone by that we weren't aware of. So just a reminder of some things we can keep doing to keep our joy going. I wanted to do the mountain meditation tonight. I haven't done that for a long time. And I think it's a really good way to kind of wrap up January because it helps us remember what is good for us, how to be settled in the world, how to move through the world and feeling safe and sturdy. So before I do, is there any questions or comments before we move forward? And feel free to unmute yourself if you do have a question or a comment. Okay, and let's move forward with our mountain meditation. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, okay. Good. Thank you. So sitting up straight again, straight but comfortable, and gently closing your eyes or softening your gaze. Taking a few deep breaths, and as you exhale, just letting your body feel heavy. A sense into that support from the chair or the cushion. Paying attention to those contact points. Finding a position of stability and poise. Keeping your hands heavy in your lap or your arms heavy at your side. You notice that when you do relax, your body does feel heavy. You sink a little deeper into the cushion. And sensing into your body, feeling your feet, and your legs, and noticing the physical sensations in your feet and legs. Noticing if there's a pulse or tingling or a tightness. Moving up to the hips, sensing into the lower body, your hips and abdomen, lower back. And your upper body, shoulders, chest. Being aware of your arms, your hands. You're aware of your neck, your head. Relaxing your face muscles. And bringing awareness to the breath, the actual physical sensations, feeling each breath as it comes in and goes out. Letting the breath be just as it is, without trying to change or regulate it in any way. Allowing it to flow easily and naturally with its own rhythm and pace. Allowing your body to be still and sitting with a sense of dignity, a sense of resolve, a sense of being complete and whole in this very moment, with your posture reflecting this wholeness. As you sit here, letting an image form in your mind's eye of the most magnificent, beautiful mountain you know or have seen or can imagine. Letting it gradually come into greater focus. And even if it doesn't come as a visual, allowing the sense of this mountain and feeling its overall shape. Its lofty peaks or peaks high in the sky. A large base rooted in the bedrock of the Earth's crust. its steep or gently sloping sides. Notice how massive it is, how solid, how unmoving, how beautiful, whether from far or up close. Perhaps your mountain has snow blanketing its top and trees reaching down to the base, or rugged granite sides. There may be streams and waterfalls cascading down the slopes. There may be one peak or a series of peaks, or meadows and high lakes. Observing it, noting its qualities, and when you feel ready, seeing if you can bring the mountain into your own body. Sitting here so that your body and the mountain in your mind's eye become one. So that as you sit here, you share in the massiveness and the stillness and majesty of the mountain. You become the mountain. Grounded in the sitting posture, your head becomes the lofty peaks, supported by the rest of the body and affording a panoramic view. Your shoulders and arms are the sides of the mountain. Your seat and legs are the solid base, rooted to your cushion or your chair, experiencing in your body a sense of uplift from deep within your pelvis and spine. With each breath as you continue sitting, becoming a little more of a breathing mountain, alive and vital, yet unwavering in your inner stillness. Completely what you are, beyond words and thought. A centered, grounded, unmoving presence. And as you sit here, you become aware of the fact that as the sun travels across the sky, the light and shadows and colors are changing, virtually moment by moment in the mountain stillness. And the surface teems with life and activity. Streams, melting snow, waterfalls, plants and wildlife. As the mountain sits, seeing and feeling how night follows day, and day follows night, the bright warming sun followed by the cool night sky studded with stars, and the gradual dawning of a new day. Through it all, the mountain just sits, experiencing change in each moment, constantly changing, yet always just being itself. It remains still as the seasons flow into one another, and as the weather changes moment by moment and day by day, calmness abiding all changes. In summer, there's no snow on the mountain, except perhaps for very high peaks or crags shielded from direct sunlight. In the fall, the mountain may wear a coat of brilliant fire colors. In winter, a blanket of snow and ice. In any season, it may find itself at times enshrouded in clouds or fog, or pelted by freezing rain. People may come to see the mountain and comment on how beautiful it is, or how it's not a good day to see the mountain, that it's too cloudy or rainy or foggy or dark. None of this matters to the mountain, which remains calm at all times, its essential self. Clouds may come and clouds may go. Tourists may like it or not. The mountain's magnificence and beauty are not changed one bit by whether people see it or not. Seen or unseen in sun or clouds, broiling or frigid, day or night, it just sits, being itself. At times it's visited by violent storms, buffeted by snow and rain and winds of unthinkable magnitude. And through it all, the mountain sits. Spring comes and trees leaf out. Flowers bloom in the high meadows and slopes. Birds sing in the trees once again. Streams overflow with the waters of melting snow. Through it all, the mountain continues to sit, unmoved by the weather, by whatever happens on its surface, by the world of appearances. It remains its essential self. Through the seasons, the changing weather, the activity ebbing and flowing on its surface. In the same way as we sit in meditation, we can learn to experience the mountain. We can embody the same central, unwavering stillness and groundedness in the face of everything that changes in our own lives, over seconds, over hours, over years. In our lives and in our meditation practice, we experience constantly the changing nature of mind and body and of the outer world. We have our own periods of light and darkness, activity and inactivity, our moments of color and our moments of drabness. It's true that we experience storms of varying intensity and violence in the outer world and in our own minds and our bodies. Buffeted by high winds, by cold and rain, we endure periods of darkness and pain, as well as the moments of joy and uplift. Even our appearance changes constantly, experiencing a weather of its own. By becoming the mountain in our meditation practice, we can link up with its strength and stability and adopt them for our own. We can use its energies to support our energy, to encounter each moment with mindfulness and equanimity and clarity. It may help us to see that our thoughts and feelings, our preoccupations, our emotional storms and crises, even the things that happen to us, are very much like the weather on the mountain. We tend to take it all personally, but its strongest characteristic is impersonal. The weather of our own lives is not to be ignored or denied. It is to be encountered, honored, felt, known for what it is, and held in awareness. And in holding it in this way, we come to know a deeper silence and stillness and wisdom. Mountains have this to teach us, and much more if we can let it in. So if you find you resonate in some way with the strength and stability of the mountain in your sitting, it may be helpful to use it from time to time in your meditation practice to remind you of what it means to sit mindfully, with resolve and with wakefulness in true stillness. So in the time that remains, continuing to sustain the mountain meditation on your own, in silence, moment by moment, until you hear the sound of the bell. So thank you for meditating with me. Thank you for being with us tonight. Have a wonderful week. Take care. I love you all. Bye-bye.